We're moving past the early adopter stage.
It's a good question. I think that yes, but only in pockets. I think that right now, if you look at it from an industry perspective, there's no doubt that it's only in its infancy. I don't think that that makes it any different than any other early stage technology. You know, when we first saw relational technology get adopted, when we saw large scale data warehouses get adopted, I think Hadoop is finding some niches. People are actually moving it from dev into test and production. But for the most part, this is still early days in the Hadoop ecosystem.
What are the pain points associated with this maturation that you're seeing? I mean, is it that the tools need to get easier, those types of things?
I think the pain points are every single thing we've seen with every data infrastructure that's come along in the last 30 years. So I think part of the core of it is people are figuring out what exactly Hadoop is and what it means to them, because Hadoop runs this huge gamut, everything from being just a bunch of disks all the way up to being this sort of relatively high-end analytic platform and really everything in between. So they're looking at moving things that are currently running on other infrastructure. They're looking at taking on whole new types of challenges, weblog processing, long-tail data problems that they haven't really dealt with before. And then there's lots of resident problems in each one of those, putting new infrastructure in place, training new developers, encountering the same old data SLA issues that we've had, the availability of the data, the quality of the data, the reliability of the Hadoop system itself. So I guess that's maybe proof of the earlier point, which is, it's still pretty early, but part of it, I think, for Hadoop is that it's actually so broad and evolving in so many different areas simultaneously that it maybe at times feels a little younger than it actually is. And if you looked at any one of these areas, the maturity is coming along fairly nicely.
Can a codeless environment apply to Hadoop? I mean, is that even a reasonable goal?
Yeah, I think that it's not only a reasonable goal, but in our view, it's kind of a necessary goal. And I think that it's important as Hadoop starts extending its reach beyond just the hobbyist phase and into the kind of being operationalized inside of enterprises. And what I mean by that is you have lots of different types of IT developers. You have guys that were schooled, way back in the COBOL days. You have Java programmers. You have Visual Basic programmers. And Hadoop really needs to kind of democratize itself a little bit better and bring all of those skills to bear in Hadoop environments. Now, simultaneously with that, people are starting to understand, like, hey, do I really want to train people up in Pig or Hive or MapReduce? Or, haven't I started to learn something from the move from SMP to MPP to pushing things down in the database to doing things in Hadoop? Why don't we work in kind of a more abstracted way and let the tool figure out how it should run optimally in each one of those environments? Because the real tricky thing is, minute to minute, job by job, day to day, you don't really know where the optimal location is to run certain types of processing. And if you have people coding to particular platforms and then recoding to run it somewhere else or not, you're just not getting optimal results. So we think that it's pretty important. Not that coding doesn't have its place. So custom analytics, very sophisticated modeling, for example. I think that there is going to necessarily be hand coding, but let's put it in the place where it can make the most difference and not sort of see this widespread use of hand coding yet again.
Last question for you.
Yeah.
What's the long term for Hadoop? Do you see it becoming the essential data tool, or is it an essential data tool?
Well, I think right now the one conclusion you can come to is right now it's not the essential tool because it doesn't handle all the different types of latencies that customers care about. So you have these cool technologies out there, massive in-memory columnar databases that can give like blistering performance for massive queries. Mm-hmm. Hadoop right now doesn't aspire to handle those types of workloads and really can't handle those types of workloads. So right now it can't be. But the Hadoop architecture is fundamentally sound. You can tell by the crowd here today that the ecosystem is very vibrant. I think that there's a lot of people putting a lot of investment into making it work, and I would never want to bet against Hadoop taking over really the entire ecosystem.
Thank you for being with us. Appreciate you taking the time.
Right, thanks a lot, Matt. Great to be here.